what a pleasant surprise I've gotten lately in Witch Hat Atelier. It absolutely snuck up on me, but I love it so much so far. The story is so intriguing, the characters are great, and the animation, hello, it's so stunning. I'd been hearing murmurs from the internet that it was good, and I'd seen Kiefer's face floating around because, of course, it's all over the place right now. But that's really the only impression I had of the series at all. I had no idea I was in for peak. Who was gonna tell me? So I am the Kagurabachi girl of YouTube, okay? Which is definitely a different vibe than Witch Hat Atelier. But let me tell you, before I was the Kagurabachi girl, and before I got into anime and manga as a whole, I was obsessed with the Owl House, which I would say actually does have overall a pretty different vibe than Witch Hat Atelier, but there are a lot of similarities there as well. There's the whole drawing magic thing. You've got a passionate main character who is an outsider who has a thirst for knowledge regarding magic. You've got a rival, so to say, from a big shot family. The pieces are definitely there. So yeah, this is actually right up my alley. Witch Hat Atelier really struck a chord with me, and even though I don't really have time to be making this video, to be entirely honest, I need to gush about it and get all my thoughts out there. So that's what we're doing today. I guess a good place to start is our protagonist, Coco, who I'll admit didn't grab me that much at first. But I think that's because I hadn't considered that her backstory of how she got into magic would actually be important. I kind of just assumed it would be exposition to like, cool, here's her motivations, she likes magic, right? But then by the end of that first episode, Kiefer's all like, ooh, I've got a lead, and it's like, oh. And then of course it escalates even more from there as well. But that moment from the end of episode 1 made me realize what kind of story I was actually in for, and that is a well-constructed story where I need to question everything. So from there I was like, okay, I need to pay attention to things that maybe aren't all they seem. Kiefer is a real mysterious guy. His morality is definitely questionable. I like that he's morally gray. I think it's pretty cool. He presents this gentle, soft demeanor for his girls, his students, but then he starts doing very hypocritical things when they aren't around, and it's very, very fascinating. I'm pretty sure he's committing elder abuse with Noah. Like, that poor guy is just constantly getting intimidated by Kiefer. Seriously though, him erasing Noah's memory when 20 minutes earlier in that same episode he argued that memories make a person who they are is genuinely crazy work. It shows the lengths that Kiefer is willing to go to. He's desperate to get back what was taken from him, which is what he says in the following episode. I still don't know what was actually taken from him, what he means by that, but it's all really interesting to me, and it's making me wonder, and I love that. I love characters and stories that really make me think and itch for more answers to things, but then you get more answers, and then it makes you wonder even more. That's why I like Kagurabachi so much. Well, one of the many reasons, but yeah. So Kiefer works really well for me because there's so much I question with him, like the whole brimmed hat thing. What did they do to him? Why was he a problem child when he was younger? They've mentioned that like once. Why does he dislike water? There's gotta be something deeper there other than he just doesn't like water. Which, the fact that Olrugio made those rings to dry off people just because Kiefer doesn't like getting wet. Hashtag nudising, happy Pride Month to those two. That's what I've got to say about that. But speaking of Olrugio's inventions, though, what the fuck do you mean the floor lighting up, the stones glowing? What do you mean that's his spell? What do you mean that's an Olrugio original? Huh? That's not me sussing him out necessarily, but I am absolutely keeping that information tucked away in my pocket for a later time. I do like Olrugio a lot, actually. I like his vibe. Him leaving his door creaked open a second time after the whole Brush Buddy and Coco incident was cute. That was endearing. That made me go like, oh, he's pretty cool. Coco's fellow apprentices I really enjoy a lot. Riche and Tetia are super cute, and I've got to let it out. I've withheld it long enough. Agat is my favorite character in the series. She really just pulled me in immediately. Like, she was quite mean to Coco right off the bat, but her frustration came from a seemingly valid place, I would say anyway. She talked of how hard she worked to get where she was, just for some girl who, according to the witch's rules, should have her memory erased, and Coco just comes right in and is an apprentice. That doesn't justify Agat being rude to Coco, of course, but her annoyance is valid. And you can just tell that there's something deeper there. I was instantly curious about why Agat is the way that she is. I need to understand how her brain operates. What is up with her psyche, you know what I mean? And that's always a good sign with me. That's how I know I'm invested in a character, if I'm like, what's wrong with them? Like, I need to know. Also, it's just a very strong first impression to make. Immediately, you know right off the rip that she's a hard worker, but there's some complex there. I really like Kiefer's talk of Agat being so hard on herself that if she falls, she'll fall hard. That's set up and foreshadowing for a banger character moment, I'd imagine, if I'm a guessing gal. When it was up to Agat to save this dire situation and she was in her head about her family, but also about how this is her chance to finally prove herself, right? My sister and I were watching this, we were sat back and we were like, please smile, it'd be so funny, please smile. And then she smiled. We got a kick out of that. That's my daughter. Agat is a Cal daughter. I've decided I love her. What other characters is there to talk about? I like Tarta. He's pretty cool. My sister and I fondly refer to him as Tarta. Every single time he would come on screen, we'd go, Tarta! Easties is really hot. And when Kiefer and Easties were talking, it kind of gave me flashbacks to JJK0. I can't lie. It's because both parties look so similar. And they were talking about their 4 students, and I was like, my favorite episode so far is definitely episode 5, and I'd imagine that is the general consensus, surely. It may be recency bias, but I genuinely think that episode 5 of Witch Hat Atelier is one of the best anime episodes I've ever seen, of just anything. And it's not just because of that one sequence either, which, let's be honest, is the best part, but that whole episode is just really good. Like when the 4 girls are all stood in a row and it was the shot of their shoes, I was hyped as fuck. That was some Arlong Park aura, but it's literally just 4 little girls. And they ate that shit up. They ate that. But of course, Kiefer coming for the save, that whole sequence is genuinely so good. Like, of course, the golden dragon thing is the money shot, but I've gotta say, my favorite part of that whole sequence is when he shoots past the clouds and he's got like the pen pulled back. It's that real funky angle and the music stops and then the clouds open and then the music comes rushing back in all at once in full force, loud as hell. Literally the hypest thing probably ever. Like, literally so cool. I find this to be a really well constructed story. Like, it just works. Does that make sense? Like, the story just works really well. There's definitely some things I should go more in detail with. I kept this very initial reaction character focused more than actual plot, but I'm keeping this short so it is kind of my initial thoughts because the season isn't even done yet. As of recording, there's only 10 episodes out. And also, I did decide that I'm going to read the manga, so I'm going to go into more detail when I make a video after that. I especially have a lot to say about the whole corruptness of the witch world and their laws, and the morality of them gatekeeping the magic, and especially the memory erasing is a whole thing. It's just a big rabbit hole that I don't want to go down in this video specifically, because I will definitely make a video after I read the manga. That video might not be out for a little bit. I've still got 160 chapters of Naruto to read, but hey, I'll get around to Witch Hat Atelier soon after. But I think that's where I'll leave us off for now. A very initial reaction. I just really wanted to talk about it. It's not very often that I watch an anime and before the episode count even reaches the double digits, I decide I'm going to read the manga. I actually think that might be the only time this has ever happened. So, good job, Witch Hat Atelier! Woo! As you can tell, I'm really, really digging it so far. I also love that the author is a woman. That makes so much sense to me. Like, after I caught up, I was like, I have to look this up because the story is so well constructed and so smartly written. I'm like, this has to be a woman. And of course it is. So, yeah, girls. Subscribe. Boom! Truth nuke. Like I said, I'll have another Witch Hat video out eventually. And maybe even more after that. Because I really like this series and I'll probably have 40 million other things I'll want to talk about it. So, subscribe, keep your eyes peeled. I also make Kagurabachi videos every single week if that's your type of thing. Like this video. Comment down below. I love reading comments. I love reading what people have to say. But I guess for a video like this, I should say, please no spoilers in the comments. Pretty please. perhaps consider becoming a channel member as well. You get shoutouts at the end of every single video, and I make members only shorts occasionally. It's nothing too crazy, but it's a good way to support the channel, but so are those other 3 things I said. Subscribe, like, comment. All those also great. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye!